Now you're here again, knocking at my door. A little too late for, I'm sorry for.
Today we're in Italy and we're on the island of Sicily and we're here to eat.
We can't wait to show you some of the best local food this island has to offer. Sicilian food is a mishmash of cultures and some of the most unique in Italy. This is our second video from Palermo and we're here to hunt down Sicily's most famous food. Watch out for street food classics, recipes that speak to Palermo's past, and traditional Sicilian food. In this three-part series, we'll show you some of Palermo's best food, from local restaurants that are off the beaten path to food you'll find nowhere else. You don't want to miss this series. Get ready for some mouth-watering food.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
Palermo, the capital city of Sicily, and this city has a thriving street food culture. So that's what this video is going to be all about. We're going to be zipping all around town to show you the best local street food eats. Sicilians love their offal, and this first street food is the ultimate example of nose to tail eating. It's called pani meusa, and it is a chopped spleen and lung sandwich.
This is a real heritage place. It's been around since 1943 and they're super famous for this sandwich. So they've got two stations making this same sandwich and they're churning them out. There's lots of people coming in, grabbing one to eat out on the street. So this is a true Sicilian street food. Well, actually, it's a Palermo street food. You'll only find this here in Palermo.
The future is now.
This is a super unique street food. I've never seen a sandwich like this. So you've just got a white bun, some sesame seeds on top, and absolutely packed with veal spleen and veal lungs. And the spleen and the lungs are cooked just very simply, I think, just boiled probably. And then once they've done that whole, then they get chopped up into little bits. And in the shop there, and when you order, all of those pieces of offal are being cooked in lard, in pork lard, and so they're just dipping them in that beautiful glossy lard. It's covering them, and so it's a hot sandwich. And then once he's taken them out of that lard, just squirted a little bit of lemon on there, sprinkle of salt, so very, very simple. That is a beautiful flavour. So the first thing that really stands out is the texture of that spleen actually. It's quite squishy. It's a bit like eating liver. It's not offally at all. It doesn't have an irony taste. It's got a beautiful taste from that pork lard. And then the lemon actually really comes through. It has a nice kick of lemon juice. Whoa. That is really good. It's a punch of flavour. And you can really taste the difference between the lung and the spleen. The spleen has a much more offally taste than the lung. I find lung to be quite a clean tasting, a very mild offal, whereas the spleen is a bit heavier. So they balance each other out really well. And the lemon all over the top works a treat. Now you can get this with cheese, just a little bit sprinkled on top, but we wanted to do it properly, just have it plain, the traditional way. And I can see that cheese might add a little bit, but I think it would take away actually, because the taste of the offal is incredible. Oh, it's really good. And it's quite funny here, this is the stall just behind me, so it's a tiny little shop. All the locals are kind of using it like a drive-through, so they're just pulling up along the curb here. They run out of their cars, grab a sandwich, jump back into their car, eat it on their own. That is a really good, really unique sandwich. I love that Palermo has such a strong street food culture, and what's also really neat here is it's a very small place, so you can walk everywhere.
We are approaching our next stop. It's the Friggitoria, which is a fried food stand, and we're here to eat a couple of Palermo's most classic street foods. We're here to eat panella, which are chickpea fritters, and crocche, which are potato croquettes. And they're making them right there in front of us. There's this huge wok of oil and they're frying them up. They look so golden and crispy. How set am I? So I've got a beer in one hand and my sandwich in the other. So this is what we've come here to eat. We have got a sandwich or a roll stuffed filled with crocche, which are the like a potato croquette. So mashed potato, there's a bit of mint in there and they've just been deep fried. And then the panella, which is hiding underneath. So that's those slices of chickpea fritters, which have got parsley inside, so made with chickpea flour and also just deep fried. Alright, let's give this thing a taste. Oh, that is really good. So it's very, very creamy. The croquettes, the potato croquettes, are very crunchy. So the mashed potato, which has hit that oil, has formed this beautiful golden crispy crunch, and the mashed potato is super smooth. The chickpea fritters are very light, so you think that they might be quite dense, but the flour is very finely milled, and then it's just very crispy on the outside, really soft on the inside. The roll is super soft. Panella is really popular in Palermo. It's a Palermo street food. The chickpeas came to Sicily with the Arabs in the 10th and 11th centuries, so Sicily has got a really distinctive cuisine. Palermo is often regarded as the world's most conquered city, so the Greeks, the Spaniards, the Normans, the Phoenicians of North Africa, the Arabs, they've all been here and they've all left their mark on the cuisine, and that's where the chickpea comes in. It's really good. Beer is the perfect accompaniment to this sandwich. What I love about it is it's really perfectly seasoned. So you think chickpea fritter, it sounds a little bit bland, but it's not at all. It's got a real savoury, salty hit, and that beer is going down very well in this heat too.
Our aim with this channel is to always show you the most traditional, the most local, the places that are doing it right. The next stop's for gelato, and we got chatting at some guys at that last stop, some locals from Palermo, and they said that this place is top of the list for gelato here in Palermo, and there's a key reason for that. So this particular shop right behind me uses natural ingredients. Everything is real, so real fruit, not powdered milk, that sort of thing. And it is quite hard to find here in Italy. I mean, you see a gelato shop on every corner, but a lot of them use powders and packets, and they taste very chemically. So you've really got to find the places that do it right. And apparently this place is doing it super right, really natural. So let's get some gelato.
Check out my gelato. So it's very common here in Palermo to get your gelato in a brioche. So I got two flavors. I got salted pistachio and also extra dark chocolate. And there is a ton of gelato in here and it's rapidly melting. So I'm just gonna get a huge bite of that extra dark. Oh my goodness. It is beautiful. The texture of the gelato is very creamy. The chocolate is so intense, slightly bitter and not very sweet. Let's get into this salted pistachio. Now I love pistachio gelato, so that's why I chose this flavor, but also because Sicily grows pistachios. They grow on the eastern side of the island by Mount Etna, the volcano. Oh my goodness. That is so good. It's just got a hint of salt. There's chunks of actual pistachio nuts in the gelato, so they're really crunchy. It's just a beautiful earthy flavor. And like Thomas was saying, The gelato doesn't have that chemical aftertaste, so you can really taste the quality. Oh, this is good. Let's just get a bite of this brioche. Oh. No, brioche is quite sturdy. The bun is quite dense, but I suppose it's because if it was too soft, it would just sort of disintegrate, and so it is a really great vessel for the gelato. Right, and you get so much of it. Heaven. For our next street food. It's called Vincion. It's sort of Sicily's pizza, I suppose, and we're told that the most authentic version is sold from the back of a tuk-tuk, so it's a mobile street food. So we're literally walking the streets of Palermo trying to find these mobile vendors who are selling Vincion. Fingers crossed we find one. Was a total failure, a total bust, so we didn't find any of the roaming Vincion vendors. We wandered the streets of Palermo for ages but didn't come across any. So next best thing, we jumped on a local bus and we've come to a bakery that's really famous for its Vincion. The bakery is so busy. Locals are pouring in, grabbing their lunch. We had to wait a few minutes for this Vincion. It came fresh out of the oven, and how good does it look? So I know that before I referred to it as sort of like a Sicilian pizza, but in reality it's really nothing like a pizza. It's got a dough, and then you've got this topping on top, which is really unique because it soaks itself into the dough as it's baking. So the name Vincion translates to or comes from the Latin and Greek words for sponge. So you've got this really spongy base, and then a topping or a sauce which is made up of tomatoes, there's oregano, breadcrumbs, anchovies, and then also a caciocavallo cheese, which is like a stretchy curd cheese. But enough talking, this is smelling way too good not to get in. Alright, I'm gonna get this in bit here. Whoa. Oh my goodness. That is so delicious. Right, so you've got this base which is light as air. It really is sort of spongy in texture, really light, and that topping is full of flavour. The tomatoes are so juicy and sweet. It's sensational. You get a really strong hit of oregano from that dried oregano on the top, and the breadcrumbs are a little bit crunchy. There's onions cooked into that sauce as well, so they're very sweet. I cannot get over how good this Vincion is. The cheese, so that's the like browny or yellowy stuff on top, the cheese, the caciocavallo. It is very subtle, but it's almost crunchy, like it's crisped up in the oven. The tomato flavour is just insane. Palermo street food scene is brilliant.
Now we're going to have a very Sicilian street food. It's some intestines grilled up on a barbecue. I can see them just up here behind the camera, and the smell is unreal. So this is going back to kind of like the start of the video, doing the whole nose to tail thing. Like we talked about here in Sicily, they love eating nose to tail.
That delicious meat sizzling on the grill is sticchiola, so the lamb intestines. The smell is just sensational. We can't wait to get in.
we have emerged from the smoke with the most beautiful looking plate of stigiola. So these are lamb's intestines. Now intestines is an offal that I absolutely love, and the reason I love it is because it crisps up on the outside, gets some beautiful charred bits, and these are super charred from being on the barbecue, so they're just sitting on some really hot coals, but the inside is often really creamy and stays nice and runny. Let's see if that's the case here. Oh, oh, there's so much flavor in that. The outside has that beautiful charredness on it, tiny bit of crunch from that, a little bit of caramelization, and then the inside is completely creamy, really creamy. And it had just a little bit of salt and some lemon put on it after it came off the grill and was cut up, so it's very simply seasoned. Oh, that is delicious. Let's get a whole lot more look at all that nice char on the outside, and you can see that crazy creaminess in there. Oh, it bursts in your mouth. You bite in, and the outside is that little bit more solid, and the cream just pops out the side, so it just sort of coats your mouth. Beautiful flavor. It's got a real nice meaty flavor. It really does taste like lamb, but that beautiful texture difference between the outside and the inside. We decided that these would probably go perfectly with a nice cold beer. I think that was a good decision. Oh yeah, drinking food. That goes perfectly with the taste of the super refreshing cold beer. I'm loving it.
Is the king of
This is a real heritage little restaurant.